Today, millions of people permanently place symbols under their skin. Some tattoos represent memories. Some represent beliefs. Some represent a moment in someone's life that they never want to forget. But this strange human behavior is much older than modern society. Thousands of years ago, long before humans created cities, invented machines, or wrote books, people were already doing something surprising. They were changing their own bodies forever. They had no electric tattoo machines, no professional artists, no modern technology, only simple tools, natural pigments, and a decision that would stay with them for the rest of their lives. But why? Why would humans choose pain and permanence for something that does not directly help them find food, escape danger, or survive? The answer reveals something much deeper than the history of tattoos. It reveals something about what makes humans different from every other creature on Earth. Because humans do not only survive, humans create meaning. Today, tattoos are everywhere. People from almost every part of the world use their skin as a place to tell stories. A person might tattoo the name of someone they love. Another might mark a personal achievement. Another might use symbols to represent their culture, beliefs, or identity. To many people, tattoos feel like a modern form of self-expression. But the strange truth is that this behavior is far older than modern civilization itself. Long before humans built massive cities, long before people created written languages, long before history was recorded, humans were already asking, how can I show the world who I am? And one of the first answers was, my own body. Archaeologists have discovered evidence that humans were tattooing themselves thousands of years ago. The oldest examples do not look like the detailed artwork people create today. They are simple lines, small patterns, marks placed carefully on human skin. But those simple marks reveal something extraordinary. They show that ancient humans were not only focused on survival, they were thinking about identity. They were creating symbols. They were expressing ideas that could not be seen. And that creates a fascinating question. When did humans first begin tattooing their skin? And more importantly, why did they start? To understand the answer, we need to travel back to a world very different from our own. A world before countries, before technology, before written history. A world where the human body itself became one of the first places humans could leave a message. Thousands of years ago, almost everything humans created disappeared. Wood tools broke down, animal skins decayed, clothing vanished. Even entire settlements disappeared beneath the earth. But one thing survived longer than almost anything else. Human skin. And that is why ancient tattoos are so fascinating. They are not just artwork. They are evidence of a decision. A person who lived thousands of years ago looked at their own body and decided, this mark should stay with me. One of the most famous discoveries came from a frozen mountain environment in the Alps. In 1991, hikers discovered an extremely preserved human body trapped in ice. Scientists later named him Ötzi the Iceman. At first, researchers were interested because his body revealed information about ancient human life. They discovered what he ate, what tools he carried, how he traveled, and how he may have died. But one discovery surprised scientists. His skin contained dozens of tattoos. They were not large artistic designs like many tattoos today. They were simple lines and groups of marks. But their existence changed what researchers understood about ancient humans. Because Ötzi lived more than 5,000 years ago,
This meant humans were intentionally modifying their bodies thousands of years before modern societies existed. But Ötzi created an even bigger mystery. His tattoos were not random. Many were placed around areas where researchers found evidence of physical stress and injuries. This raised a fascinating possibility. Were these tattoos only for appearance, or did they have another purpose? Could the first tattoos have been connected to healing, pain, or even beliefs about the human body? The answer is more complicated than people might expect, because ancient tattoos were never just one thing. They were part of a much bigger human behavior, the desire to give meaning to ourselves. The discovery of Ötzi answered one question. Humans were tattooing their bodies thousands of years ago. But it created an even bigger mystery. How did they do it? And why would anyone choose to go through that process? Today, getting a tattoo is easier than ever. A person can visit a professional artist, choose a design, and use advanced equipment created specifically for tattooing. Ancient humans had none of this. They had no electric machines, no sterile equipment, no detailed designs created on computers. Instead, they had to create everything themselves. They used sharp objects made from materials around them, stone fragments, animal bones, or primitive tools. Then they would place natural pigments into the skin. The process was slow. It was uncomfortable, and unlike many things humans created, tattoos were permanent. A mistake could not simply be erased. A person could not remove the mark the next day. So this creates another question. If tattooing required time, pain, and effort, why did humans continue doing it? Because the first tattoos were probably never just about making someone look different. They were about something much deeper: meaning. Imagine living thousands of years ago. Your world is completely different from ours. There are no cameras to capture important moments, no books to record your story, no internet where people can share who they are. Your memories exist only inside your mind and inside the people around you. But humans have always had one unusual ability. We turn invisible ideas into visible symbols. A thought could become a drawing. A memory could become a monument. A belief could become a symbol. And eventually, a symbol could become part of your own body. The skin became a place where humans could carry information. A tattoo could represent an experience, a journey, a connection, a transformation, something that changed a person forever. This is why tattoos are so interesting. They reveal that humans are not only concerned with staying alive, we also care about what our lives mean. Before humans had written language, they still needed ways to communicate. They needed to answer important questions. Who are you? Where do you belong? What have you experienced? What makes you different? Today, we use many things to answer these questions. Our names, our clothes, our photos, our online profiles. But thousands of years ago, humans had fewer ways to express identity, and one of the most powerful tools they had was themselves, the human body. A mark on someone's skin could communicate a message without saying a single word. It could tell others, I belong to this group. I survived something important. I have a special role. I carry this memory. The tattoo became a story that traveled everywhere with the person. This idea appears again and again throughout human history. Because humans have always searched for ways to show invisible things. You cannot see someone's memories. You cannot see someone's beliefs. You cannot see someone's experiences. But humans found ways to make those invisible things visible. A painting can show an idea. A song can show an emotion. A symbol can show a belief. And a tattoo can show a part of a person's identity. This ability is one of the things that separates humans from other animals. Animals communicate. They warn each other. They show dominance. They create social relationships. But humans do something different. We create symbols that represent ideas. We create meaning, and tattoos are one of the oldest examples of this ability. But there is another mystery. If tattoos were about identity, why did so many different cultures around the world create them? Many ancient societies developed tattoo traditions independently. They lived thousands of kilometers apart. They spoke different languages. They had different religions. Yet they arrived at a similar idea. The human body could become a place for storytelling. Why? The answer reveals something important about human nature.
When humans spread across the planet, they carried something with them. Not only tools, not only survival skills, but imagination. Different environments created different cultures. Different cultures created different traditions. But some human behaviors appeared again and again. Tattooing was one of them. In ancient Egypt, researchers discovered evidence that some people used body markings. Some tattoos may have been connected to protection, identity, or spiritual beliefs. In parts of Asia and Siberia, ancient tattoo traditions appeared among different communities. In Polynesian cultures, tattoos became deeply connected to family, history, and social identity. The designs were different, the meanings were different, the methods were different, but the pattern was the same. Humans used their bodies to communicate something greater than themselves. This creates one of the most fascinating questions about human evolution. Why does this same behavior appear in so many places? Why do humans everywhere feel the need to decorate, modify, or mark themselves? The answer may be connected to one of our oldest instincts: belonging. Humans are social creatures. For most of our history, survival depended on groups. Knowing who belonged to your community mattered. Knowing someone's role mattered. Knowing someone's experiences mattered. A tattoo could become a visual connection between a person and their group. It could say, "I am one of you. I share your history. I carry the same values." In this way, tattoos were not only personal, they were social. They connected individuals to something larger than themselves. But tattoos were not always about belonging. Sometimes they were about standing apart. A person could use a tattoo to show uniqueness, to say, "This is my story. This is my journey. This is something that makes me different." And this reveals a fascinating contradiction about humans. We want to belong, but we also want to be individuals. We want connection, but we also want identity. And tattoos exist exactly in the middle of this human conflict. They allow someone to say, "I am part of something," while also saying, "This is who I am." At first, tattoos seem like a strange human behavior. From a purely survival perspective, they do not seem necessary. A tattoo does not build a shelter. It does not help someone find food. It does not protect someone from the cold. So why did this behavior survive for thousands of years? Why did humans continue marking their bodies when there were so many other challenges to overcome?
Because humans are not only survival machines, we are meaning-making machines. Throughout history, humans have spent enormous amounts of energy creating things that go beyond basic survival. We create music, we tell stories, we paint, we build monuments, we create traditions. None of these things are required to keep our bodies alive, but they help us understand who we are. They connect us to others. They give meaning to our existence. And tattoos belong to the same human instinct, the desire to transform an invisible idea into something visible. A person cannot physically show their memories. You cannot look at someone and see every experience that shaped them. You cannot see the moments that changed their life. You cannot see the people they loved. You cannot see the struggles they survived. But humans found a way to carry these invisible things on the outside, a symbol, a mark, a permanent reminder. The tattoo became a bridge between the inner world of the human mind and the outside world. It allowed someone to say, "This happened, this matters, this is part of me." And this may explain why tattoos survived even as civilizations changed. The tools evolved, the designs changed, the meanings transformed, but the psychological reason remained. Humans still want to preserve important moments. We still want to express identity. We still want others to understand something about us. Thousands of years ago, a person might have marked their skin to show their connection to a tribe. Today, someone might mark their skin to remember a loved one. The symbols are different. The human need is almost identical.
Thousands of years have passed since the first humans created tattoos. The world looks completely different. Humans now live in huge cities. We have advanced technology. We communicate instantly across the planet. But one ancient behavior remains. Humans still choose to permanently mark their skin. Why? Because even though our world changed, our psychology did not completely change. Modern tattoos can represent thousands of different things. Some people tattoo memories of family members. Some celebrate achievements. Some represent personal beliefs. Some mark important transformations. Some simply appreciate the beauty of the artwork. But underneath all these different reasons is a common pattern. Humans want their experiences to have meaning. Think about the difference between a random mark and a tattoo. A random mark has no story. A tattoo does. The meaning may only exist inside one person's mind. A small symbol might represent a childhood memory, a difficult period they survived, a person they lost, a dream they achieved. To everyone else, it might look like a simple image, but to the person carrying it, it can represent an entire chapter of their life. And this is something ancient humans understood too. They may not have written books explaining their stories. They may not have left behind detailed records, but they left marks on themselves. They created a message that survived thousands of years. There is something almost poetic about this. The oldest tattooed humans could not know that people in the future would study their bodies. They could not know that thousands of years later, scientists would look at their skin and ask, why did they do this? But that is exactly what makes these discoveries so powerful. Ancient humans are still communicating with us, not through words, not through books, but through symbols they placed on their own bodies. The history of tattoos teaches us something much bigger than when humans first started using ink. It reveals a fundamental part of human nature. Humans are storytellers. We tell stories with words. We tell stories with art. We tell stories through the places we build. And sometimes we tell stories through ourselves. A tattoo is a small reminder that humans have always wanted to leave evidence that they existed. Not because they wanted everyone to remember their name, but because they wanted their experiences to mean something. Every generation of humans faces the same challenge. Our lives are temporary. The moments we experience disappear. People we love change. Time moves forward. But humans have always searched for ways to preserve what matters. Ancient humans painted on cave walls. Civilizations built monuments. People wrote books. And some people marked their own skin. Different methods, same instinct. The desire to say, I was here. My life mattered. This story belongs to me. When humans first tattooed their skin, they were not simply decorating their bodies. They were doing something much deeper. They were creating a language without words, a way to carry memories, a way to show identity, a way to connect themselves to something bigger. The first tattoos reveal that humans have always been more than creatures trying to survive. We are creatures trying to understand ourselves. We search for meaning. We create symbols. We tell stories. And sometimes we carry those stories with us everywhere we go. So the next time you see a tattoo, remember, you are not looking at a modern trend. You are seeing a tradition that began thousands of years ago, when humans first discovered that their own skin could become a place where stories could live. Because the history of tattoos was never only about marks on the body, it was about the oldest human question of all: who am I?